This video follows my previous storyboarding in Blender 5 video where I discussed how the new storyboarding template in Blender works. And this video is all about customization now and how you can tailor that to work exactly as you want it. So that leads us on then to another new Blender 5 feature called Scene Assets. This has huge implications across this workflow and pretty much all workflows, especially previs and 2D, 3D hybrid stuff that we'll go into after all the 2D stuff is covered. Scene assets allow us to create I think of these as as a base or a template from which you create your shots. Now, we've already been doing that by hitting Shift A and go into Scene and come in here. Now you'll notice again that it says assets, right? And it's got a little asset icon. And underneath that is shot 000. And when we hit it, we create a new strip, new shot, new scene, however you want to frame that. It's all of those things actually, based off of that initial scene asset template. Well, where is that, right? So how you find it is if you come up here to the very top up in the outliner, which is your little scene selection thing, drop this down here. And if you've got loads of shots in there already, use the arrows, your number pad arrows to go up to the top. And can you see here, F shot 000, and it's got the little asset icon next to it. That means that that's an asset that you have access to. So if I click it, what you'll find is it's just a blank. Ignore this edit down in the VSE. That's my actual edit I've been building right with the other shots. It has nothing to do with anything. So everything below this line here, just ignore that. I'm going to pull it out of the way just so you can just completely ignore that, right? So what we have got is up in the outliner, we've got a camera, we've got a grease pencil, and we've got a timeline with 48 frames on this shot. So anytime we make a new one based off of this template, that's what comes in. Now, I can make an asset out of any scene I've got in this file, right? So let's say I come to, let's just pick a random one, right? Shot 5, this. If I wanted this mess of a shot to be my asset, I come to this shot and I right click the scene collection and I hit mark as asset, right? So I've marked this as an asset now. And if I do come down to my VSE and I create a new shot, go to scene, now you will see the shot 5 is also an asset. So if I hit that, it's going to do that. And everything in shot 5 now, that's there again as the basis from which that was built. And that includes any materials, however I've set my layers up on my grease pencil. So if I come here, you'll see that I've got all the layers here that I had already set up in shot 5, and now they now come in as well, which highlights really how useful these scene assets are, right? So I'm going to just backtrack all that because we don't want that messy asset, right? This course was created in close collaboration with the awesome team at ARTWOD.com. ARTWOD believes that everyone has the potential to express themselves through art, no matter their background or experience level. It's a philosophy I really share. Their mission is to redefine art education by making it accessible, fun, and engaging for all, from passionate hobbyists to future professionals. ARTWOD is the perfect companion to my own teaching, including this course. Why? Because they cover the foundational skills that I don't: drawing fundamentals and core design principles. Solid fundamentals are what allow us to bring our ideas to life. ARTWOD offers a powerful platform to build those skills, all while tracking your progress through a motivating and seamless learning experience. No matter where you're starting from, improving your drawing fundamentals with ARTWOD will unlock huge growth in your 2D, 3D storyboarding abilities. On ARTWOD, you'll find easy-to-follow learning paths covering everything from drawing characters, portraits, and environments to storytelling and visual design. These paths are tailored to your goals with a strong focus on essentials like spatial awareness, form, shading, and composition. Getting started is simple. Just sign up, choose a path, and dive in. The lessons are structured like games with fun challenges and workouts where you can track your progress, earn rewards, and learn at your own pace. You can be confident that every step in the ARTWOD roadmap is taking you closer to your creative goals. As part of my collaboration with ARTWOD, you can now get a special discount. Just use my link in the description below and start leveling up your fundamentals. So let's go back to our actual nice and clean template that we've got, right? Because ideally, you probably, for the most part, don't want anything to have been drawn in it or anything like that, right? You probably just want this to be set up exactly how you like it. So this applies to pretty much everything within this scene. For example, some stuff that comes to mind very quickly is my camera, right? If I come down to my camera, it might be the focal length of the camera, your resolution, for example, right? Let's go to the resolution here. I've currently got it 1920 by 816, but if you don't want that and you want it to be 1080, do that. There it is. If you want to change your frame rate from 24 to 30, you can do that there. Pretty much everything here. Then things like inside the camera, your passport 2, right? Whether you want the surrounding passport 2 of the camera to be dark or light as default. I kind of keep it like fairly dark, but not quite black, so I can just about see what's outside. You can do that. You can decide whether you want composition guides on or not, which only come up with the overlays, right? All this stuff, right? However you want this. I'm gonna leave some of this on. I'll leave the thirds and the center on, right? Just again, just to show how this stuff kind of is toggled on and off. You've also got then your actual scene frame range, right? So which we've already talked about. So you go 1 to 48, but if that's not your default, you know, you might be a 100 framer or 150 framer. I'm going to just go 100. And so I've made that frame range. You can see it's gone gray there. Don't worry about that. Something to bear in mind, right? When you've made your template, you keep that tucked away, right? You don't come into that to work ever. The scene asset is there as the template to make other things off of. You don't go and work in that then, right? Because whatever's in there, next time you create something, it's going to have all that stuff in it. So like, don't go drawing inside it unless you absolutely want that to be the thing that gets created every time. So don't worry about this, right? When we create a new strip using this asset, it will come in at 100 frames. I may as well demo that now. So if I just bring this up here and in the top layer here, I'm going to just create now another one from that scene asset, right? So shot 00 like we did before, but now it's 100 frames. And if I pull this down again, you can see in the actual live top timeline, it is 100 frames. So that's how that works, right? So you can see immediately now, right? I've made a change in the asset and it has made that change is immediate, right? I don't think you even have to save, but I tend to save quite a lot anyway, so I don't know. But I don't think you do. I think any change you make in it is then just active from that point on. Okay, so we've got our 100 frames. That's great. We've got the camera set up how we want it. Even things like, do you actually want the camera to be locked to begin with? Do you want that camera locked, or do you want to keep it open so you can go outside it? You can obviously toggle that off anyway. It's just a state basically. Is like it will remember that state. And then you've got your grease pencil, right? So question there then is how many layers you want in your grease pencil. You might want more, right? So make a couple of layers. Maybe one of them's rough. You know how you like to work, right? It's going to be, for me, it's something like I have a rough layer for a character and I have a clean layer or a tie down layer. I have fill layers and I have maybe a background layer, maybe 2 background layers, something like that, right? So I can set that exactly as I want it. So I'll just make a whole bunch of layers in here now to show you. Within the grease pencil, there's certain settings, like within draw mode, for example. If I go into draw mode, I don't like the cursor being displayed. Like I leave that on because it's clearer for you guys when I'm drawing. You can see where my actual cursor is. It depends. This is the one that basically, like, when you make it bigger, it stays on screen, that one. If you switch that off now, that will be the case when I make a new scene. So remember, like, I've drawn here now, so I need to remember to delete everything, right? You don't want any keyframes at all, right? Apart from, you can have one at the very start of every thing if you want it, but even that isn't necessary. You don't want any keyframes, and you want to come into your like object mode as well, right? So put your normal dope sheet on. You don't want any keyframes at all on any of this template, right? You don't want anything on your cameras. You don't want any object keyframes. It's nice to be nice and clean. So anytime you come in, like for example, right, if I did have a camera keyframe here, right, and then I forgot about that, and then I made a scene based off this, and then I was here and I was like, oh, I want to adjust the camera here, then you're going to have a camera move in between that accidentally. So just get rid of it, right? Clean it up, nice and clean. Set your layers exactly as you want them. Even things like which brush you've got selected, right? Because I really like the chisel brush here. So if I've got that selected, and I know like at this distance of drawing, I tend to like this size. Do that, right? Set it exactly as you want it. And that's exactly how it'll be made. Remember, again, delete your keyframes if you've made some. Even a favorite of mine being like auto lock inactive layers, right? Because generally speaking, when I'm working on one layer, I don't want it to affect other layers, and especially if I'm in edit mode or deleting and things like that. I tend to, more often than not, I tend to only want to be manipulating the layer I'm on. I get lots of accidental things happening if I don't do that. So I just come down here, auto lock inactive layers, and then there you are. And then let's come to materials, right? So inside here, the default as it is that I'm building off of, we have 4 materials, but you can make as many materials as you want. So if you want a purple line, great, you know, you call it purple. Come here, maybe you want a new fill. So let's go to fill, and you want like do a colored fill, green fill or something, right? You populate this with whatever you know you're going to want to use, the types of colors you want, the types of materials, and everything here then is going to get created again when we make a new copy of this. Okay, so we've made all the changes we want to our custom template, and we just leave it at exactly the state we want it to come in at. If you want to have the camera selected, you have the camera selected and make sure you're in object mode. If you want to be drawing immediately, which you probably do if you're doing a pure 2D workflow, right? Your drawings are going to come before your camera. Then you want to be in your grease pencil, in draw mode, on the layer you want, with the brush you want selected, at the size you want to draw it, with the material that you want to be drawing with, which is probably, for the most part, solid stroke black to begin with. If that's how you want to set it up, which is how I want to set it up, that's the state in which you leave it, right? And I'm going to just save that now. So that's what shot 000 asset is now, rather than what it was at the beginning. That's it then. It's ready. You've made your template. Control, save it just in case. And then let's come back down now to our live edit. Let's make a new shot, right? Based off this template now. So if I come wherever, go Shift A, scene assets, shot 0, right? Hit it. You see it's now 100 frames, right? So these ones used to be 48 frames each, and now this, you can see it's visibly longer immediately, right? And inside it now, if I go in, theoretically, I should be on grease pencil selected. I should be able to draw with my chisel marker on this layer that I selected with the material that I selected. It shouldn't have the cursor on because I switched it off. The resolution, as you can see, used to be widescreen, but this new template will create 16:9 because that's how I set it, right? So as you can see, absolutely everything we changed there is now evident in the new shot created from that asset. So that's really how you do it, right? Just set up exactly as you want it and you fully customize it. And by the way, you can do this with as many scenes as you want. So I could, if I wanted to, come back to shot 000 now and make a new asset, right? So I'm going to go, let's come to this. It's a solid basis, right? So I'll use this as a basis. I can then duplicate this. If I hit this button here, right, we'll go full copy, which means it's the same as doing a full copy, right? So it's a full copy, but this is not yet marked as an asset. This is shot 37 is calling it. I'm going to call this now custom template 1, right? Just as an example. I'm going to do the same thing here. Right click on this, mark as asset. So custom template 1, I'll change a bunch of things. Like I'll change the layer name here to custom, right? I'll then switch it into grease pencil mode. I will choose the rough ink brush as my starting one. I'll change this to the purple material. Okay. Anything else that will help? I'll change the frame range to 200. Right, and you can get really specific about how you name these templates if you want them for very specific things. So I could call this, if I wanted custom template 200, I could call it custom template 200 purple or something like that, right? Just so you know that that's exactly what you're bringing in. So now that's saved. I'll save, and I'll come down here. I'll go Control A up to scene, and now we've got shot 000 and also custom template number 1. So I hit that. It should come in as 200 frames long. It should be on the layer custom. It should have the rough ink brush, and it should be on purple material. There we go. Utterly reliable. It's wonderful. This is the great thing about it. It's just so reliable once you set it up. But that's it. That's how it's done. That's how it works. So now I'm going along, right? Like I'll be working. I'm like, all right, okay, I'm gonna use my default setup first to make a new one, and then I'm like, actually, do you know what? Maybe I've done more specific changes, and I was like, right, I definitely want custom template number 2 for this. Bring that in, and now I can work on that. So even if it's stuff like the different frame ranges, if that's the quickest way of you getting there, if you think this is entirely now like in your hands, your preferences are gonna determine how you use this feature. It's a really great feature. I absolutely love it. Once we get into like the 2D, 3D hybrid way of working stuff, and just even pure 3D with environments and camera setups and stuff like that, this scene asset is just so powerful with that. It's fantastic.